Hello, Market Club members everywhere. Adam Hewison here, co-founder of Market Club with your midday update. Apple disappointed yesterday and Amazon posts a loss. As we stated in yesterday's video, we were on the sidelines on both Apple and Amazon before their earnings announcements. This sideline position was based on our weekly intermediate trend trade triangles. Once again, this conservative strategy proved to be a winning approach for both of these stocks, which have performed so well for members. So what does 12, 25, 100, and 750 have in common? The one thing they all have in common is they're all important numbers now and for the next several days. Here's why they are important. Let's begin with 12. 12 is the number of days to the general election. This election is perhaps the most important vote any American citizen cast in the last 60 years. 25. Spain announced today that its official unemployment level hit 25%. That means that 1 out of every 4 Spanish citizens is unemployed. Not a good sign for the Spanish economy. 100. The worst storm in 100 years to hit the east coast of the United States. That includes our area, which is in the mid-Atlantic and on the Chesapeake Bay. So please have us in your prayers. 750. The Japanese government today announced a 750 billion yen, that's about $9.4 billion, fiscal stimulus plan to help boost the economic growth of that country. Now let's go to the markets and see what the trade trials are doing right now. But if you have a bad storm and it does cause a lot of damage, then there will be the upside. Of course, it will help the housing industry as well as some of the appliance industry and so forth and so on. That's the good news. But it's not a good news for wherever this thing lands. It's not a good sign. So let's go to our portfolio manager and let's look at the S&P 500, which is down today about 0.5%. Pretty quiet trading going on, really not much to get too excited about. And let's just put our, there we are. So you can see it, we're down for the week. We closed much higher last week and we're very oversold. The market just doesn't have any oomph and it's rolling over. So it's getting very close to that stage where it is going to perhaps give a major signal. It's not there yet, so I don't want to jump the gun. But right now, with our intermediate term trend, you're out of this market from 1430. You're out on the sidelines. That's the good thing. Pretty much the same with the Dow. You can see we've been out of the Dow since 13,367. That's about 300 points ago. And that doesn't look good the way it's closing right now. We may see a rally, but the last 3 days it's been very tight action. And of course, if you look at the NASDAQ, that's really taken a bit of a dive today because of Apple. Apple traded below $600. We'll be looking at that stock a little later on. So again, these markets do not look that robust. And it's just a kind of a literally the calm before the storm, because you've got the elections coming up on November 6th, about 12 days from now. People are just really nervous about this thing one way or the other. Now, looking at crude oil, you've come back down. You have this last 3 days, pretty tight range. The support at 84 and 85. It's sort of hanging around that range. It may go down a little lower, but we are out of the Donchian trade channel right here. So we may see a pop back up to the midpoint, which would take it closer to 89 to 90. Let's see how that plays out. But generally speaking, certainly the trend, both the weekly and the daily, are negative. If you look at our World Cup portfolio, we're actually short oil in that from, I think, around 91.12, and it's working out obviously very, very well on that portfolio. So let's go to our next market. That's the USO. Pretty much the same pattern there. Market's closing lower for the week. Not too much to get excited about. Going on to the euro. The euro is lower for the week, but it's not really super lower for the week, if that makes sense. But generally speaking, it looks as though it just doesn't know which way it goes. If you look at this, just the chart itself, you can see it's been sort of just, you had to move up and down, down, down like this. And really they're the lines in the sand. 128, we've talked about this yesterday, on the downside, and 131 on the upside. We need to break out either one of these directions to get this market going in a firm trend, either up or down. I don't care, but it has to move. And maybe the problems with Spain is really quite serious, but the market knew that. It sort of may have digested that news already. So let's clear the screen and go to our next chart. The next chart is gold. Gold is beginning to stabilize here. The one thing I want to share with you is on the gold is this, is that we do have you can see prices came down here like this. And you can see that the momentum, the Williams percent R, was actually going up, indicating that this is a bullish divergence. So right here, we would call this a bullish divergence. Is right here. So the market made a new low. It's failing to make new lows on that. We're at a very big psychological level, which is $700. And excuse me, we can easily see a pop back up to 740, 750 in this market. But generally speaking, the longer term trend for gold is up, even though we've come down over $100 or close to $100. The intermediate term trend and the short term trend are both negative. So we want to see that these two trends turn back up. So the weekly and the daily turn positive. Then we want to get on board and get long this market. So let's clear that screen off just for a moment and go to our next market. Next market is going to be copper. Much the same. Copper is just below the support area. We thought the 3.55 would be support. It's hovering around there, dancing around those numbers. It's very oversold. And again, this is reflecting the sort of lazy sort of economy we have now. No one knows what to do. We need to get this election behind us. And hopefully we will. And we move on and we'll get some markets that we can actually look at and be excited about. So let's take a look at silver. Silver actually put in a very interesting day. We were looking for, I think we had support at 31.30. We got down to, I think, 31.20 or something like that, and then reversed up. Actually, silver is about unchanged for the week. And the key thing there, like gold, is you do have this divergence. There's the lower prices there, and you have the divergence right here. So it's pretty interesting to see that. And I think the other thing I'd look at is going down here. Let's scope this down. We're seeing this beginning to flatten out, the MACD flatten out on the histogram, and we want to see this line turn up. When it does, I think that'll be a pretty good indication that silver is going to go back up, and that will probably translate to gold as well. So let's go to our markets, the other markets we're looking at. And let's take a look at Apple. Apple broke through the psychological 600 barrier today, and it's a big one. I mean, you have to say this is not good action in Apple, no matter what you say. So let's just let's scope this out a little further, and well, let's do 2 years. That should be good. And you can see if you draw let's go a little further if we can. And let's just clear the screen of all this mess that's up here and just keep it simple, which we like to do, as you know. But this is not, if you can draw a very simple, let's scope this in a little further. From this last low that we had here, you can draw a very simple trend line from here to there, and you can see where it basically cut through around the 640 area, 630 area, and it's still not looking that great now. If you remember, when we talked about our position in Apple going into the earnings, which is it's going to be incredibly hard for them to keep these earnings up. I mean, I don't care. The competition is great, and that's why I think they want to get into this recurring revenue deal with music, because that's any company loves recurring revenue. Our company is no different. We love recurring revenue. Our very pampered members, hopefully they enjoy our service. They keep coming back and subscribing. That's exactly what a company wants. Every company wants that. So if we go scope this in, you can see where it basically broke through, and that is, again, a negative for this. But however, our monthly trade triangles are still positive. So they haven't, even though we've seen this large pullback, over $100 in Apple, which is substantial, we have not seen a turnaround yet on the upside. So let's keep that in mind. So moving on to our next market, and is Amazon. Amazon sort of put in, even though it lost money for the first time as part of their Living Social deal, it really sort of picked up again here. And I think that was the key thing to look at on this market. So again, pullback, boom, it looks like it's making a turn. Hasn't made the turn yet. Longer term monthly positive, intermediate, and daily negative. So we want to see these markets turn around. We haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's going to be a fantastic Christmas for Amazon. We'll have to see, and we'll let the markets tell us what they want to do. But there's a lot going on. And Best Buy, which is obviously under tremendous pressure here, one of the founders is trying to buy it, but this is definitely a 52-week low. It's not going anywhere but down. You can see we're minus 100, very strong trends. And if you go further on to this, you can see we've been short from 22, currently trading at 14. So, I mean, it just shows you the trade triangles work, and they work extremely well. One thing you may want to do today, and that is go and take a look at our Smart Scan and just see which markets are making 52-week highs and which markets are making 52-week lows. And I think that's going to be a very, very key thing. So if you look at this, it's kind of equal. I've got 148 making 52-week highs and 108 making 52-week lows. So depending on which way you want to go, you may want to hedge yourself, maybe do one 52-week high and one 52-week low. So let's go to this level. As 108 will come up, and we'll just scope it down so it's a little bit less than that. 148 shows up. On the upside, we want to put some parameters in there, like we want to see stuff that trades over 2,000, and we want to see that the price is, let's say, less than $50. So let's just do that. So less than 50, there it is. And we just want to do U.S. exchanges. If you're in Canada, of course, you can just do Canadian. If you're in Australia, you can do just Australian. So we'll just do U.S. And this 148 will go down quite dramatically. Yep, down to 10. So there you have some interesting markets. Taser International, obviously a big move today. And this looks very, very good. Cabot Oil and Gas. COG is the symbol there. And let's see what else we have. Royal Caribbean Cruises looking good, 52-week highs, and obviously they're probably going to the main season now, the winter season, but there's lots to look at. And let's just go, this is the highs, let's go to the lows and see what we have. And let's just put this into greater than 20. Let's just say greater than 20 and scan that. That's going to take it down to 6 charts, which is even better. So NetApp looks terrible. This looks like a real good short for the weekend. As does F5 Networks. If it closes down here, that's not looking good. And Decker's Outdoor Corp, that looks like a disaster. And BJ's Restaurants. So we've got some nice, I think some nice markets. So you could basically take one, you could take COG on the upside for a 52-week high, and you could take something like NetApp on the short side of the ledger and go net long, net short, so you'd be in a way hedged for the weekend. So, hey, this is Adam Hewison. I hope you have a good weekend. If you're in the Mid-Atlantic or anywhere from Norfolk up to Boston or even further north, I hope you're safe. We're praying for everybody here. We're obviously in a very dangerous situation. It's fluid. And we'll do our very best to be transmitting on Monday. It depends on how badly we get hit. So for everybody else, have a great weekend and great trading today.